Good morning, friends. You're most welcome to Think Guys channel. Today we are going to discuss the India Yearbook Gist 2022, which is written by GSS Score, and our topic is education. The essence of human resource development is education, which plays a significant and remedial role in balancing the socio-economic fabric of the country. Since the citizens of India are its most valuable resources, the billion strong nation needs nurture and care in the form of basic education to achieve a better quality of life. To emphasize the educational development of students of weaker section of the society, several innovative initiatives have been taken by the Ministry of Education, such as setting up of National Monitoring Committee on Minorities, setting up of National Monitoring Committee for Education of the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes and Persons with Disabilities, student support initiatives such as National Means Come Merit Scholarship Scheme, NMMSS, National Scheme of Incentives to Girls for Secondary Education, and SIGSC, Special Scholarship Scheme for Jammu and Kashmir, Scheme of Interest Subsidy on Educational Loans, regulation on preventive regulations on prevention of discrimination and establishment of ombudsman and development of an anti-ragging web portal for the all-around development of our children, which can be achieved by building a strong foundation in education. The right of children to free and compulsory education, Article 21A of the Constitution of India, and its consequent legislation, the right of children to free and compulsory education, RTE Act 2009, became operative in the country in 2010. The Right to Education Act confers the right to elementary education on all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years based on quality of opportunity in a formal school that satisfies certain essential norms and standards. National Education Policy. The National Education Policy 2020 NEP 2020 is the first policy of the 21st century and has come after 34 years, replacing the new education policy of 1986. Built on the foundational pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability, this policy is aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, National Education Policy 2020, and Higher Education. NEP aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, in 50% by to 50% by 2035. GER Gender Equality Report is currently Gender Based Education Report is currently 27.1%. 2019-20 figures. The policy envisages a broad-based, multidisciplinary, holistic undergraduate education system allowing creative combination of the subjects such as mathematics with music and history with painting, and integration of vocational education with mainstream education. National Education Policy 2020 and School Education. National Education Policy 2020 envisions a substantial transformation in the entire education system at all stages, right from early childhood care and education ECCE to higher education. It envisages education as a continuum without any segmentation and focuses on making education more experiential, holistic, integrated, character building, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, learner centered, discussion based, flexible, and above all, more joyful. Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. The Department of School Education and Literacy launched an integrated centrally sponsored scheme, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, in 2018 by subsuming the erstwhile centrally sponsored scheme of Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan SSA, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan RMSA, and Teacher Education TE. It is an overreaching program for the school education sector extending from preschool to class 12th and aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education at all levels of school education. Pariksha Pe Charcha 2021. The fourth edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha, the unique interactive program of the Prime Minister with students, teachers, and parents, was held for the first time in virtual mode while Adhering to the COVID-19 protocols, this event was organized successfully for the fourth consecutive year. Diksha, Digital Infrastructure for Knowledge Sharing Diksha, launched in 2017, has achieved several milestones in the field of digital teaching and learning. States and union territories are on board, thereby heralding a digital movement in the field of education, school education in the country. The platform offers teachers, students, and parents engaging learning materials relevant to the prescribed school curriculum. Inclusive education for disabled at secondary stage. The scheme of inclusive education for disabled at secondary stage IEDSS was launched in 2009-10, replacing the earlier scheme of Integrated Education for Disabled Children IEDC. Inclusive Education for Disabled at Secondary Stage IEDSS component was subsumed under Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan. It assists with the inclusive education of disabled children in class 9 to 12. The scheme aims to enable all students with disabilities after completing 8 years of elementary schooling to pursue further 4 years of secondary schooling class 9 to 12 in an inclusive and enabling environment. Centrally sponsored scheme for teacher education. Strengthening teacher education. The centrally sponsored scheme for teacher education was initiated in 1987 according to the formulation of the National Education Policy, National Policy of Education 1986. The scheme was revised for the 12th 5-year plan. The aim was to establish DIETs in all districts created up to 2011, thereby increasing their numbers from existing 571 to 646, strengthening existing 106 to 122 colleges of teachers education CTEs, and upgrade existing government secondary teacher education institutions into CTEs, strengthen the existing 32 to 39 institutes of advanced studies in education IASEs, upgrade Department of Education in universities as IASEs, and establish block institutes of teachers education BITS, that is BITES, in identified SC/ST minorities concentration districts. Quality in teacher education. Creation of separate cadre. About 17 states and union territories have created separate cadres for teachers educators under the TE scheme, teacher educator scheme. States have also been asked to strengthen the cadre of teacher educators in their respective states or union territories. National Council for Teacher Education NCTE Regulation 2014 Norms and Standards, the NCTEs, was established to achieve planned and coordinated development of the teacher education system throughout the country. The regulation and proper maintenance of the norms and standards in the teacher education system and for matters connected therewith, reorganizing or restructuring of SCERT and cadre structure of state educators under the CSS centrally sponsored scheme teacher education. 9 states have reorganized, restructured their SCERT in 2016. New activities initiatives under CSS 7E scheme. India Teacher Education Portal Parikshak. The Department of School Education and Literacy launched India Teacher Education Portal Parikshak in 2016. The portal is helpful in monitoring teacher education institutions and in providing comprehensive information to prospective students and teachers to select the right institute per choice. Infrastructure development for minority institutes. The scheme facilitates the education of minorities by strengthening school infrastructure in minority institutions. It covers the entire country. It is to fund infrastructure development of private aided or unaided minority elementary, secondary, senior secondary schools to the extent of 75% and subject to a maximum of 50 lakhs rupees per school. Organizations that are recognized by central and state governments are eligible to apply. They should have been functioning for at least the last 3 years and have a substantial enrollment of children from minorities. The scheme is implemented through the state governments and all requests for financial assistance are entertained by the state government in the prescribed application form. Implementation of Direct Benefit Transfer (DBT). Direct Benefit Transfer (DBT) scheme system was launched in 2013, under which 25 schemes across 8 ministries departments were selected for implementation of DBT system in 43 pilot districts of 16 states or union territories. It envisages the direct transfer of funds to the beneficiary accounts through the Aadhaar Payment Bridge (APB). In 2015, DBT scheme was extended to the entire country. Two scholarship scheme of the Department of School Education and Literacy, which the National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme (NMMSS) and the National Scheme of Incentives to Girls for Secondary Education (NSIGSE) are covered under it. A National Scholarship Portal (NSP) has been made operational for the online submission of proposals or list of beneficiaries by the state government for NMMSS and NSIGS. National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme. The centrally sponsored National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme (NMMSS) was launched in 2008 to award scholarship to meritorious students of economically weaker section to arrest their dropout at class 8th and encourages them to continue studies at secondary and higher secondary stage up to class 12th. 1 lakh scholarships of 6,000 per annum and 500 per annum per students are awarded to select students every year for class 9th and their continuation up to class 12th in state governments, government aided and local body schools. There is a quota of scholarships for different states and union territories. Students, those whose parental income from all sources is not more than 1,50,000 rupees, are eligible to avail of the scholarships. There is reservation as per the state government norms. The selection of students for the scholarship is made through an examination conducted by the state governments. Scholarships are disbursed directly by electronic transfer into the bank accounts of students quarterly following Direct Benefit Transfer mode (DBT mode). National Scheme of Incentives to Girls. The centrally sponsored National Scheme of Incentive to Girls for Secondary Education (NSIGSE) was also launched in 2008 to establish an enabling environment to reduce dropouts and to promote the enrollment of girl children belonging mainly to SCs and ST community in secondary schools. According to the scheme, a sum of 3,000 rupees is deposited in the name of the unmarried eligible girls as a fixed deposit on enrollment in class 9th, who are entitled to withdraw it along with interest thereon passing classes 9th and attaining 18 years of age. The scheme covers all girls belonging to SC/ST communities who pass class 8th, and second, all girls who pass class 8th examination from Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, irrespective of whether they belong to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, and enroll in class 9th in a state government aided and locally body schools. Adult education. As per the census 2011, the absolute number of illiterates in the country in the 15 plus age group is 25.76 crore, 9.08 crore males and 16.68 crore females. In consideration of the progress of persons made certified literates to the tune of 7.64 crores under the erstwhile Sakshar Bharat program till March 2018, it is estimated that currently around 18.12 crore adults as per the census 2011 are still illiterate. As per the recommendations of National Education Policy 2020 on adult education and lifelong learning, a strong and innovative government initiatives for adult education, in particular to facilitate community involvement and the smooth and beneficial integration of technology, will be effected as soon as possible to expedite this all important aim of achieving 100% literacy. Padhna Likhna Abhiyan PLA. The ongoing centrally sponsored scheme of adult education Padhna Likhna Abhiyan PLA was approved in 2020. The main objective of PLA is to impart functional literacy to 57 lakh non-literates of 15 years and above age group in the country from 2020 to 2021. Padhna Likhna Abhiyan is the first scheme that was approved for implementation in all states and union territories in both urban and rural areas in the country. However, the implementation period of the Padhna Likhna Abhiyan scheme has been extended. National Award to Teachers. Instituted in 1958, the National Award to Teachers (NAT) is given away by the President of India on 5th September, Teachers' Day, every year to give public recognition to meritorious teachers working in primary, middle, and secondary schools. Altogether, there are 378 awards, out of which 23 are reserved for Sanskrit, Persian, and Arabic teachers. Each state or union territory or organization has an earmarked quota based on number of teachers. The scheme also covers teachers of the school affiliated to the Central Board of Secondary Education (CBSE), including teachers of independent affiliated schools situated abroad, Council for Indian School Certificate Examination CISCE, सैनिक स्कूल, केंद्रीय विद्यालय संगठन KVS, नवोदय विद्यालय समिति NVS, Central Tibetan School Administration CISA, and schools run by the Atomic Energy Education Society from the award year 2001. Special awards have been instituted for teachers promoting inclusive education in schools and the education of children with disabilities in regular schools. The total number of special awards is 43. Special awards are conferred on the teachers of the following categories: teachers with disabilities working in mainstream schools, special teachers or trained general teachers who have done outstanding work for inclusive education. Each award carries with it a certificate of merit, a cash award of 50,000 rupees, and a silver medal. केंद्रीय विद्यालय संगठन. The scheme of केंद्रीय विद्यालय संगठन or a केंद्रीय विद्यालयास KVS central schools was approved in 1962 to provide uninterrupted education to the wards of transferable central government employees. Consequently, Central School Organization was started as a unit of Ministry of Education. Initially 20 regimental schools, then functioning at places having a large concentration of defense personnel, were taken over as central schools during the academic year 1963-64. The Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan was registered as a society under the Societies Registration Act in 1965. The primary aim of the Sangathan is to provide, establish, maintain, control, and manage the central schools, Kendriya Vidyalayas located all over the India and abroad. The Government of India wholly finances the Sangathan. Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti. The National Policy on Education 1986 envisages the setting up of residential Navodaya schools to provide excellence coupled with equity and social justice. Consequent to this, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti was registered as a society under the Society Registration Act of 1860 to establish Navodaya Vidyalayas to provide good quality modern education, including a strong component of inculcation of values, awareness of environment, adventure activities, and physical education to talented children predominantly from the rural areas without regard to their families' socio-economic conditions. National Council of Educational Research and Training. The National Council of Educational Research and Training NCERT provides academic and technical support for the qualitative improvement of school education. The NCERT was established in 1961 was an apex national body to lead qualitative changes in school education. NCERT has been playing an advisory role in guiding central and state governments in formulating policies, act and government programs. National Council of Teacher Education. The National Council for Teacher Education, in its previous status since 1973, was an advisory body for the central and state governments on all matters about teacher education, with its secretariat in the Department of Teacher Education of the National Council of Educational Research and Training NCERT. National Bal Bhavan. National Bal Bhavan NBB, established in 1956, is an autonomous institution funded by the Ministry of Bal Bhavan as by the ministry funded by the ministry. Bal Bhavan as a movement is spread across the length and breadth of the country with 134 affiliated Bal Bhavans and Bal Kendras. National Bal Bhavan aims to enhancing the creative potential of children by providing them with various activities. It offers a barrier-free environment with immense possibilities for innovation without any stress or strain. Central Board of Secondary Schools Education. Central Board of Secondary Education. Established in 1929, the Central Board of Secondary Education (CBSE) is a premier board of school education under the Union Government. CBSE conducts examination in class 10th and class 12th based on the curriculum and syllabi prescribed by it. As of now, the board has 26,132 schools affiliated with it, with around 2.25 crore students, including all the students from 5 states or union territories: Delhi, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and Chandigarh. CBSE aims for equity and excellence in the education by offering a uniform syllabus and curriculum and conducting the same examination in all the schools. The board also affiliates schools ranging from the government schools in rural and tribal areas to some of the excellent schools in the country. Apart from conducting examination for class 10th and class 12th, it also conducts the Central Teachers Eligibility Test, Admission Test to Navodaya Vidyalayas, National Achievement Survey, and other special examination as assigned to it by the Ministry of Education. National Institute of Open Schooling. National Institute of Open Schooling (NIOS) is an open school to cater to the needs of the heterogeneous group of learners up to pre-degree level. It was started as a project with inbuilt flexibilities by the Central Board of Secondary Education (CBSE) in 1979. In 1986, the National Policy on Education suggests strengthening of open school system for extending open learning facilities in a phased manner at secondary level all over the country as an independent system with its curriculum and examination leading to the certification. Central Tibetan School Administration. Central Tibetan School Administration (CTSA) was established in 1961 as an autonomous organization under the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India, and fully funded by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, to establish, manage, and assist schools in India for the education of Tibet children. It was also entrusted to carry out the administration and management of central schools for Tibetans, to build, construct, maintain schools, hostels, and other buildings, to provide scholarships and free ships and other assistance to help students to preserve and promote Tibetan culture, heritage, and traditions, to cater to the educational needs of Tibetan refugee children, to pursue excellence and set the pace in the field of school education, to initiate and promote experimentations and innovations in education in collaboration with other bodies like CBSE, NCERT, DOE, Department of Education, CTA, Dharmshala, etc.